I would like to start by recognizing that we are gathering and governing on the unceded traditional territory of what is now known as the Comox Nation, and we are grateful for their grace and collaboration as we do this good work on their lands. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Move the agenda.
Thank you. Seconder? Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. And I think that's BMX that just walked in the room. So that's good. We have minutes to adopt from Committee of the Whole October 6th and regular council October 6th.
Move the minutes.
Second.
All in favor of those? And that is carried. And first up is a delegation from Coal Hills BMX. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. So you guys, whoever's going to speak for you can come up to the mic at the podium there or sit at, oh, actually, I don't think that mic works. But we need to mic so that the hundreds of people watching this meeting live at home or later will get the benefit of hearing you as well. So, yeah, we're ready. You're up.
So there's your
My clicker.
your clicker.
Excellent.
So you click the arrow to move your
Excellent. Wonderful. Hello, I'm Michelle Honeysett. I am one of the executive members of Coal Hills BMX. We have with us today our president, Renee Larson, our vice president, Nick Belanger, our rider rep, Laura Stewart, and we have lots of young representatives here. None of the girls wanted to come. I tried to convince my daughter. She was like a no. Gage, Noah, Austin, Rain, and North. And
Awesome.
we're each going to talk just a little bit. We don't know how much time we have.
You get 10 minutes.
We'll be fast.
Okay.
We're really fast on bikes, maybe not
Yes.
so fast on talking.
Well, we'll see.
So this is our agenda. We're just going to go over our background and history of the track, current operations, membership, schedule and programming, community impacts and future initiatives, an overview of proposed track expansion, and our request to council. Are you ready to talk, Mama?
Hello. Hi, I'm Renee Larson. I'm the president of Coal Hills. Okay, I gotta catch my breath. It's ready. Okay, the history, a little bit of history of Coal Hills is we have been there for just over 25 years.
Yeah.
We are a nonprofit society, and the entire association is run by volunteers. The Village of Cumberland and Coal Hills have had a long-standing collaboration relationship. I feel in the last few years more so than in the past, and we're trying to embrace that a little bit more and going forward a little bit more work with you guys. It's maintained, so every year at the beginning of March, we start our track prep, and it usually goes for about 3 to 4 weeks on weekends. And that is to start to build the track for the season. It usually takes about 4 weekends to get it going. We work around weather, so hopefully, so usually it's like we're going in between of rain and stuff. Locally, we're multi-use function. We are open year-round, so people can come and use the track whenever they want, 24/7. Yeah, and it's just the Cumberland track is an important part of the growth of the cycling community in Cumberland. We have recently done some work with Gravity and hopefully to continue that relationship with them. And yeah, let's see what else we got here. Current operations, was that me again? I'll pass it on. You go for it.
So basically, our track has an average of about 160 members annually. Renee also already spoke to the start of our season being April usually if we have the track up and running with the track maintenance being done in March. Sometimes it's weather dependent. We might not start till the beginning of May if it's been really bad weather. And we usually run through to end of April. We just had our last race. The Pumpkin Roll is our annual final race, which is lots of fun. It was pouring with rain this weekend, and we still rolled our pumpkins. When we host weekly practices, so Monday nights have historically been our practice nights, and we do a weekly race, which has historically been Saturdays during the school year, and then we move to Thursdays or Wednesdays. We're looking at a bit of a schedule change for next year to possibly put our racing on the Monday night, which has typically been our practice night. So just to
Then we
try
can't
to
come
work
and
together.
watch, 'cause
Yes,
we're here.
wonderful.
We can't. If you move it to Mondays, we can't.
Oh, we can't come and
Yeah.
watch, sorry. You can come on Saturdays in the school year.
We could.
Our riders do start as young as 2. A number of these riders started at age 2. Gage and Noah for sure started at age 2. North and Rain both came into it quite a bit later. Laura might talk to that a little bit. And we go, our oldest rider on the island is over 60. And in our membership currently, I think our oldest is 56. So we do have quite a range of people riding. A number of our younger riders move on to do mountain biking. So we feel we do a lot to help to promote the growth of mountain biking in the community as well. So we have a lot of our older riders actually are involved in both mountain biking and BMX. Most of the ambassadors for Gravity come from BMX. We continue to build our capacity for coaching. Laura is one of our coaches. She's certified through BMX Canada. And we have 2 other certified coaches and some junior coaches who've just been certified by Bond Training. And we continue to offer lots of clinics, novice, advanced, as well as inviting guest coaches. We've had lots of pro riders visit our track, Olympians, to offer special clinics. And those often draw on people from Nanaimo and Victoria when we have big clinics to offer. So we get lots of involvement from our sister tracks. There's 3 other tracks on the island. Nanaimo, Oceanside in Parksville, or Qualicum is quite a bit smaller, but still we have membership come from there, and Victoria as well. Who's next? Oh, kids. Nope, Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Stewart. I'm the rider rep for Coal Hills. Like was mentioned before, Coal Hills is strictly 100% volunteer run. So we rely on board members, parents, volunteers, even our kids. We get them volunteering at a very early age, which we find builds huge community. So we have the older kids helping the younger kids. We have the parents helping the parents, parents helping the kids. It is really a full circle sport, which I've been in sports my whole life. This is the first time I've ever experienced this kind of community in sports. So I think we're all really proud of that. We do love sharing our track with the community. Like was mentioned, Gravity uses it regularly for their own use and own practice. The community uses it. It's open all the time. We host a lot of races. So we host a weekly race every week. But what's not mentioned there is we also host provincial races, national races, which gathers and brings riders from across Canada. So we've had riders, typically mostly BC, but Alberta, Ontario, it's all one big organization. So we do a lot of work to promote that. So that's really great for the community of Cumberland because we offer camping. So when we have great camping weekends, we camp in our field, which sometimes you guys allow us. We have our camping in the back. But then these tourists and riders, they stroll into Cumberland and use your businesses and facilities as well, which they love. We are probably one of the most sought after tracks to visit in all of BC. So when we travel to other tracks, which how many in BC? 17 tracks across BC, which they're all wonderful, but we have the opportunity to host camping. We have the mountain biking. We got the dirt jumps. We have the community right there. We have the park that allows the kids of families who don't ride to still enjoy the weekends away. So we're really, really fortunate to have that. Like it says, all of this amounts to positive outcomes in health and wellness and tourism. Again, we've never had a community like BMX. So, yeah, thanks.
Okay, tell us about the expansion. You're running out of time.
Hi, I'm Nick Belanger, Vice President of the Coal Hills. Oh, this isn't. Sure, I'll just go to the expansion. Running out of time. So the light brown area where the red line goes through, the red line is currently the existing fence that you guys most of the time can't see. It's covered in blackberries most of the time. There's a trail right behind that that people use to access the biking trails. To the right of that, where the green line is and that lighter gray line, is where the new, sorry, I said that wrong. The red line's the fence, the green line is the new fence.
Okay.
And the trail is in the same location now as it will be when we're done. It'll be wider. The plan is to make that trail 8 feet wide so that 2 bikes can pass.
Okay.
Unless you guys don't want that, then we could obviously narrow it up. It was just our thoughts on what we would do to make it more useful. Down at the bottom of the page there, at the end of that trail, it's right now quite steep to get onto the lower trail that people use to go across the bridge. So the plan was to taper that way back so it's a way more gradual slope, so it's not so hard for people to get up and down. Looking at kind of the bottom of the page again, the red is, like I said, the existing fence. The new fence would be at the green, just so that we can, coming out of turn 1, the pros will go to the outside where the like lighter brown is underneath the red. And yeah, there'll be a series of jumps that they can do much quicker, and the corner needs to get large and like widened out so that they can make the corner, because they're going to be going so much faster. So the corner will be a little higher. I don't know if any of you guys have been out to Nanaimo at all or know anything, but this expansion is going to really help our riders improve and get better to go ride that track. So to just help with all their progression. What have I missed here?
So is that that's not an expansion of the existing track route? That's an additional route for
Yes.
expert riders.
What you see right now is existing. Like,
Yeah.
can I go up there and point?
There's a pointer on your
Ooh.
green. There you go.
Yeah, so this is the existing track here.
Yeah.
So the new track, they're almost going to touch. Like the new one will just be right here.
Okay.
It's just another lane, essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then in doing this, we're going to upgrade our lighting because it's not quite bright enough, and widening it out will make it a little darker over there. At the same time, what we didn't put in here is a lot of the tracks now are upgrading to a timing system. So a lot of the bikes have transponders on them.
Oh.
So as soon as you leave the gate, you're timed.
Yeah.
And there'll be a timer at the 30-foot mark. You can put them wherever, like end of first straight, finish line, so that, again, to progress the riders, to make sure they're seeing where they're at. For, like, my hoodie I'm wearing is for Worlds, for UCI, which my wife raced in last year. And Austin has been to, how many times? Twice. We are going next year to Australia. So all of this stuff just helps progress the faster riders, because the track is amazing. It's great. We've built it so that they can progress, but it's kind of just taking it to that next level to help them further their goals to the Olympics.
So when my kids raced, they sort of aged out early teens because there weren't enough kids of that age here locally to create a moto for them.
Yeah.
And so will that help this? Will it
For
encourage
sure. Yeah.
older
What it's going to
riders?
do
Awesome.
too is it helps keep riders and retain
Yeah.
them too. Like if the track's not kind of say fast enough and they can't do enough to progress their skills, then they are forced to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
This will help them do all that progression more locally here without having to spend money traveling and things like that.
Yeah.
One thing too that was forgotten is there's a lot of people from the States that come here too during the national events. Like I forget how many, like, yeah.
I'm just
So-
going to repeat that into the mic. 400 riders.
400
and
riders total.
50 Americans.
51 came up from the States.
Their family members who they all bring family members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay often for more than just the weekend, because if you're coming from the States, you're not going to just come.
Yeah, you make a vacation out of it
Yeah.
for sure.
And we have a national coming up this summer.
Oh, you get the national this year. Okay.
This year, yeah.
Awesome.
So 2023 and then next year. The other thing at the bottom too, just to make sure everyone is clear, is none of this new stuff is outside of our current licensed area. Like we're not asking for more space.
Okay. And it looks like there's trees in that green line.
Really looks like there is, but
Is it just
there's
blackberry?
not. It's just like bushes.
Okay.
Like I don't even think there's many bushes in there. I guess they're pretty tall because you can't see people walking sometimes.
Yeah.
So they're probably 7 feet tall sometimes. They grow
Okay.
pretty quick.
Yeah, they do. Okay, thanks, Nick. Do you want to? I can give you, I'm willing to give you more time if the kids want to come and. Come on. Tell us how much you need this expansion. That's what you're here for.
Hi, my name's North Belanger. I'm a senior rider at the track and junior coach. Some of our future initiatives for next year are, like we talked about, the nationals there next year. Bring lots of riders from out of town. I'm going to Worlds next year. My brother Rain and Austin are all going to Worlds next year. That's going to be a big event. We want to bring, with the expansion of this track, we want to bring a lot more riders to the track because the track in Nanaimo is a lot more advanced. It's got concrete corners. It's a paved, slurried track. It's a lot better, easier to ride on. A lot of riders tend not to come down for the hour drive to ride a track that's not quite as good, so it doesn't bring the competition here.
Yeah.
We kind of have to go to find that competition within the island. So we want to bring more people. We want to build more partnerships with the community and cycling. Cycling BC, which is the UCI. Not sure where you are of that.
Okay, yep.
We want to try and get them involved with our track, help local businesses, bring more people. So what the expansion of the track's going to provide us is our track's a lot smaller. Our features aren't quite as big. We don't have paved corners right now. We have dirt corners, which move a lot slower.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't ride year round. We kind of shut down around this time.
Yeah.
We were just riding the track earlier before we came here. It was one of kind of our last sessions before the winter inevitably all the frost takes us over.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will provide us with faster track. We'll be able to get better, not want to leave the sport due to like a hindrance. We can't get any better because our track doesn't allow us to continue our efforts. Yeah,
Nice.
it'll help us hopefully keep us in the sport. We won't want to leave.
Yeah.
Stay here.
You'll just transition to mountain biking after that. Yeah.
When we're too old and slow. We'll
That's
just-
right. Okay. Thank you all so much for that, council. Questions? And you guys can decide who wants to answer questions if we haven't.
Just more of a comment. If this is obviously going to raise the stoke in the village, which I'm all for. Very well spoken, young man. And no, I love to go down there and watch you folks and dream about what I could have been in my younger days had I taken up BMX.
It's never too late to get on a bike.
And break an arm.
But no,
Sorry.
thank you. It looks like it's not any more land that you're asking for. I just see advantages in this. So thank you.
Yes, well, thank you. I've always loved what you guys do, and the way that skate park was way the BMX track was created was a model when we started wondering how to create the skate park, and that's why Rick Grinham joined the committee, and we used the way that and the partnerships with the village. So thanks for continuing to engage. I think in the beginning, your list of slides, the last one was request of council. I was wondering, did we get there?
Yeah, it's the expansion.
So that is the request.
Yeah.
Our request is to expand.
Yes, right. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Questions?
Thanks, you guys. It's a great track. My daughter likes it. It's good fun. Appreciate everything you guys are doing down there.
No, you'll have to wait till question period for your question. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for bringing the crew, and congratulations on your success. I think I just saw a post about winners recently, so congratulations. Yes, I think it was you. Yeah. And thanks for bringing this forward. Staff will get back to you probably. You do not have to stay. You're welcome to stay, but you do not feel obliged, although these meetings are so interesting. So there's a recommendation there, Council.
Move
to
the
receive.
council receive the delegation from Coal Hills BMX Association regarding approval for an expansion of the Coal Hills BMX track within the licensed area.
Second.
All in favor? Thanks. Okay, next up is BC Shellfish Growers Association. But I don't see Nico. Okay, Alex is going to speak. Come on up.
Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
My name's Alex Monroe. I work for Taylor Shellfish Canada. You know us as Fanny Bay Oysters. I'm the Director of Farming and Processing. I'm also what we call a small grower. I run a small business in Bain Sound called Rain Coast Sea Farms. I've got 4 tenures in Bain Sound. I also own a small business that operates in Barkley Sound outside of Bamfield. I'm an active member of the BCSGA. I've been associated with them for decades now. I've been growing oysters locally since 1988. We're a little concerned about norovirus, so I'm going to take an opportunity to highlight a few things for you, maybe help you make a few decisions, and put in a request for opportunity to learn more things. Who are we? BCSGA. We've got 146 farms in the province right now, or farmers, sorry. We hire about 950 employees across the province. That doesn't include restaurant staff. About 60% of those people are associated with Bain Sound area. It's the sort of heart of the shellfish industry here in BC. There's multiple processing plants that I'm sure you're aware of. And we generate about $80 million worth of economic activity. Anything from burning lots of fuel in our boats to having new boats built, truck equipment maintenance, forklifts, all kinds of stuff. Currently, I believe we have about 60 farmers directly operating in Bain Sound. And what is norovirus? I don't know how much people know about it, but it's a tiny little thing. When I take people on a tour of an oyster farm, I describe how small oyster larvae are. If you're familiar with a mechanical pencil, that's typically a 0.5 millimeter lead. If you look at the end of that pencil lead, you can put 5 baby oysters on the end of that pencil lead. That norovirus is 1/50th the size of that oyster larva. And it takes about 10 of those to make somebody sick. Okay? And when you're sick with norovirus, you're shedding anywhere between 8 and 10 billion of those a day. So if you do the math on that, it takes roughly about a septic tank to start questioning whether there's enough norovirus in Bain Sound to make people sick. Okay? How does it get into oysters? It moves through the environment. So what you're looking at there is a picture of the north end of Bain Sound. You can see a plume or a colored variance in the water there. In the foreground, it's not a great picture, but in the foreground, it's sort of greeny blue oceanic water. Top left, you can see a break in it, and that's muddy, sort of silty laden water. That's the plume coming out of the Trent River last February. Okay, I was out there on Friday, and it looked very much like that, maybe a little bit thicker after we had a big rainfall on Friday. The question is, what's in it? Okay. One of the issues with sewage treatment in BC is very few sewage treatment plants actually treat for norovirus. It is not included in the wastewater treatment regulations. All the wastewater treatment regulations are based on bacterial loads as a relation to shellfish concerns. There's a lot of other things that they track too, but viruses are not one of them. So one of the potential problems with Cumberland is it turns into a surface discharge essentially when it enters the ocean. It goes down into Maple Lake Creek, down into the Trent River, spills out the end of the Trent River, and when you have a big freshet, you get a freshwater lens on the ocean, and it pushes right across to Denman Island. The little inset on the bottom is a model created by Dr. Susan Allen at UBC, and it shows you the direction of current within Georgia Strait and in Bain Sound. So you see the bottom of that, you see Hornby Island at Denman Island, and you see the arrows traveling south down through Bain Sound. You have a knot of roughly 1 to 1.5 knots traveling south through Bain Sound in that image. So it takes about 8 hours for anything that's at the north end near the Trent River to get all the way down to Deep Bay. If there's norovirus in that plume, it's getting spread all through Bain Sound. Luckily on Friday, that is not always the case. Sometimes the current is moving to the north, and on Friday, this past Friday after the big rain, the current was going north, and all the effluent from the Trent River appeared to be going out over the bar into Georgia Strait. So when you get a freshwater influence, what happens is you get a big surge of water, and because it's on the surface, it tends to jet across, and it doesn't mix very well. So it takes several days for it to mix. So sometimes we'll have that plume go right across, like I say, and it lands on the beaches on Denman Island. Norovirus is a tricky little thing. The science is not great on it. You can talk about viable and non-viable norovirus. Viable is one that makes you sick. Non-viable, it's the fragment of it. If you go back and look at this picture, it's kind of like a little walnut. It's got a hard shell. And the hard shell is very resilient, and you can pick up traces of it long after the virus is viable. So essentially, if you can imagine, you're walking into a cemetery here in Cumberland and you dig a hole, there's a good chance you're going to find human DNA, but you're not necessarily going to find a live human being in the cemetery. Same kind of thing with norovirus. So Cumberland is not the only wastewater treatment plant that puts norovirus in the environment. We've got Comox Valley Regional District locally, French Creek to the south of us that probably influences it as well. The question is, how much is viable and how much is non-viable? The difference between Cumberland and these other ones is Cumberland, like I said, is on the surface. The other ones are below surface. I believe Comox Valley Regional District is at 60 meters. French Creek, I believe, is at 90 meters. So what that does is it tends to mix, dilute things down, get concentrations lower, and the environment itself digests norovirus and breaks it down, so it's non-viable. Oysters act as bioaccumulators. They're filter feeders. They pump many liters of water a day. Norovirus can bind to different things that the oysters eat. It tends to accumulate in their gut, and if they accumulate enough, 10 particles, they can make you sick when you eat a raw oyster. What happens when it gets into oysters? Well, you can get illnesses. You get public health investigations, so we'll have people eat in our restaurant. We have a restaurant in Vancouver. People will come in, they'll enjoy oysters. They'll go home. 4 to 12 hours later, they'll be feeling ill. They'll contact a doctor, projectile vomit, projectile diarrhea. It's not a pleasant experience. They get put off oysters. And investigators come along. They say, oh, well, there's no obvious problems at the restaurant. Must be the oysters. Canadian Food Inspection Agency gets a hold of that, and they come out and they do sampling on farms. When they're sampling for norovirus DNA, not necessarily live norovirus, just DNA. And the de facto standard is absence or presence. If they find it, they leave the site closed. Period. That's it. What happened with that last year was we had illnesses happen on December 14th, actually the first week in December. We found out about them on December 14th. Farms were closed on the 16th. Some of those did not open again until nearly June of this year. What does it do? It creates bad publicity. The impacts can snowball. We live in a global environment. We sell oysters all over the world. Singapore has a public health agency. They hear about noro closures and illnesses in Vancouver from BC Oysters, and they essentially put a test and hold on oysters going into Singapore. It takes 7 days to get a result. They've essentially closed the border because you've got a 7-day shelf life on live oysters. So essentially they've shut down the Singapore market for us. So we are still battling that, and we are still fielding questions from illnesses that happened 3 and 4 years ago. It takes that long to go through the system. More on the fallout from regulators. Regulators don't have a lot of information. Like I say, the science is bad or incomplete, let's say. The system designed to err on the side of caution, so they rely on fragment testing, and like I say, if they find it, they close. They leave it closed. And it all ends up leading to extended and excessively long closures. So currently the BCSGA, I'm a chair on a subcommittee, NORA working group, and it's a very large problem with a lot of tentacles going out. We're talking to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, we're talking to BC Centre for Disease Control, we're talking to DFO, we're talking to Environment Canada, and we're talking to Cumberland and other operators of wastewater treatment plants. We're also looking at Island Health with septic fields. There's a lot that can go into this, and we've tried to chop it up into small pieces, and what I'm doing here tonight is I'm trying to address one small piece. What we're looking to do is help regulators get more informed so we can have informed regulation, and that's going to require some research and understanding. So a previous norovirus risk assessment of BC oysters developed by the Public Health Agency of Canada. It happened about 8 years ago, I think. The key variables in their decision making were the community load. So in other words, how many people in the community have norovirus and is it in the community? The effectiveness of the wastewater treatment plants and various environmental conditions. All of that is a little gray at this point. BC CDC and Ministry of Health do some tracking, but access to the information is very limited. So we're looking to improve our understanding. So we want to monitor and understand community loads, monitor to understand volumes and viability leaving the wastewater treatment plants, the viability of the norovirus. We want to monitor to understand the spread through the environment, so we're going to be doing some modeling, some drogue studies, things like that. And we want to analyze the data to help develop effective management tools to protect the public health and allow business to operate. Essentially what we want to do, this is a very big problem. We realize it's not going to go away. We realize it's not just Cumberland. But we need to identify some early warning systems so we can stop the process before we get people sick. The problem is if people get sick, Canadian Food Inspection Agency goes out and looks. And essentially what they're doing is they're looking for something that we know is there. If we're putting noro fragments into the environment, it's not a surprise that we're going to find them when we go looking for them. And the problem is when they find them, they close us. So what we want to do is we want to try and develop an early warning system. Okay, we know there's norovirus in the community. We know it's in the sewage treatment ponds. We know they just got flushed out by a big rainfall. It went down the river. We have the oceanographic information. We know where it went. And we can say, okay, guys, no more harvesting. Let's wait 3 weeks, see what happens, and then we can start up again. That way, maybe we only have a 3-week voluntary closure instead of a 6-month closure. What we need. We're looking to collaborate with the Village of Cumberland. We've been communicating with you off and on for the last 7 or 8 months. We understand your reluctance to provide information or share information about viral loads and working at your wastewater treatment plant. We're not trying to harm you. We're not trying to blame Cumberland. This is a long-term problem. It's taken decades to get where we are, and it's going to take decades to get further from where we are now. What we're looking for is access to your wastewater treatment facility so we can collect influent and effluent so we know what the community load is. Ideally, it would be from a homogenized automated pump that collects hourly samples. I don't know if you have that available, if you're doing any sampling. We'd like access to outflow data, ideally daily, so we can see when it's a problem. I'm not sure if you're too familiar with how your lagoons work, but essentially you've got 60,000 cubic meters of sewage in the pond. That's about 10,000 septic tanks. Going back to my comment that it takes one septic tank to contaminate Bain Sound, you've got 6,000 of them sitting there, maybe 10,000. And what happens when it rains, because of the stormwater connection in the plumbing under the city, it overwhelms the system. So the idea is those ponds are digesting nasties like norovirus and deactivating it before it goes into the environment. It's supposed to take about 60 days. So when you're operating in dry flow conditions, you're moving about 1,000 cubic meters a day. When it rains really hard like Friday, I would venture to guess that you probably saw flows upward of 14,000 cubic meters a day on Friday. It's going to last. If it continues to rain, it continues to pour out. It may last like that, slowly dwindle down over 3 or 4 days, but it's going to take 5 days to empty those ponds into the Trent River. So there's 10,000, 15,000 septic fields going down that creek and into Bain Sound. And we're trying to get a handle on when that happens so we know when to say, okay, stop. Okay? Some of it is just physics. It rains, it fills up, it spills over the top. Other times it's operational. You can't have the berms overtopped because they'll wreck them and the whole thing will be a disaster. So you manually open a gate valve. If that happens, it would be nice to know about that so we can stop when we need to stop.
Can I just let you know that you are running out of time and we will not have time for questions if, yeah.
I think this is the second last slide.
Okay.
Okay. There's a little bit of a sense of urgency for us. We've started the winter rains. It's coming. Norovirus season is coming. We need to make some decisions on this quickly. Okay. Why it's important? Obvious reasons. Ultimately, it's going to help benefit public health, the shellfish industry, give Cumberland a chance to blow their own horn about the effectiveness of their new wastewater treatment plants. And we're respectfully asking the council to support our request and help facilitate access and data sharing so we can begin the important work together. Okay, thank you for your time and consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks. I just want to start by doing a bit of clarification for those listening at home and those in the audience. So when you say that we're dumping 6,000 to 10,000 septic tanks into the Trent, that's not quite accurate, because in a septic tank you would only have wastewater. And what we have is a mix of rainwater, quite a lot of rainwater, stormwater, and wastewater. So while your measurements might be right about what's going out, the content of 10,000 septic tanks is not, because we only have 4,000 residents and like 2,000 houses, not even.
So if I could respond to that.
Can I just I'm going to take my turn now.
Okay.
So I just want to also let people know that all of the information we have about our new wastewater system, you have also received. You have also been allowed to be on site. You've had a tour of the site with our former Director of Operations.
Yes.
You've done some testing, and we have repeatedly stated that we are willing to work with you, but right now we do not have a Director of Operations in place, and so we need some time to do that. At the same time, we are actively pushing really hard to finish this wastewater project, and it is moving very smoothly, and interrupting that with trying to set up an agreement without our Director of Operations seems not the best timing for us, and will very much slow down the process. And we are not willing to slow down this process because we are very aware that for the last however many decades, we have been putting effluent into the Trent River that shouldn't have been there. And we are very much committed to rectifying that situation. So having said that, I'll let Council start with our questions.
Could I,
Go ahead, Councillor
can I
Brecky.
respond to one comment?
Yes.
The idea of 6,000 septic fields, when you have a dry spell of several weeks, and you're running on 1,000 cubic meters a day of waste going into the ponds, it is largely human sewage. And then you get an influx of storm water, and it flushes the contents of the ponds out.
Yes, and when our wastewater is finished at the end of this year, it will no longer do that.
Which is
We're so
excellent.
excited for that.
Which is
Okay.
excellent, and I commend you for that,
Yes.
absolutely.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that we will be the only wastewater system in the valley to treat with UV, which is the only way to treat for
Which is
norovirus.
excellent as well.
Thanks. Okay, Councillor Brecky, go ahead.
That probably answers one of my questions. If there is a treatment for noro in that, but if it's effective with UV, I imagine that might allay some of your concerns.
It does, absolutely. One of the problems with the new system is that it's not going to be able to hold or handle all the stormwater intrusion. So there are still going to be 4 or 5 events a year, I believe, quoted by the engineer, saying that the system may be overwhelmed and it will require the dumping of less treated sewage.
And so it would still flush out inactive virus, which
Active
fragments, yeah.
active or inactive.
Right, got it. That's and the other question is, how long does an event take typically? If there is an Noro event within Bain Sound, how long is the viable life of even those viable presence of even those inactive viruses?
That's one of the things we're wanting to fine tune. The science right now is not great. Some literature suggests that it'll last 3 to 4 weeks in the marine environment. BC CDC seems to think it may take 60 days above 10 degrees Celsius, which means sometime in June.
Wow. So it even bioaccumulates as fragments within the oyster
Correct.
population. Okay, thank you. Those are my 2 questions. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I can understand you want to have an awareness to get ahead of a problem with proactive closure, because I take that point. And so what I hear you developing is a sort of effectively a strategy and a monitoring program that allows you to take that proactive action.
Correct.
So how many monitoring points around Bain Sound, and how many systems, and how much sort of sampling would that, how many sample points would you expect that?
Some of these things are still in the early planning stages. So we are talking about, we're working with Tim Green at VIU, developing some of the field monitoring procedures. So we're going to have oyster sampling stations. It's nearly impossible to sample marine water for norovirus, just because of the dilution effect, the amount of water you have to concentrate in order to get a viable sample. Oysters do a good job of accumulating it, so we are going to have at least 4 oyster monitoring stations. But one of the troubles with norovirus analysis is the cost of analysis and the number of labs that are capable of doing it. We've been talking with a lab in Mississauga that is currently offering to do it for us for $500 a sample. CEFA standard is 5 individual samples per site. And if we want to do that a week, that's 20 samples a week at $500 a week or $10,000 a week.
Yikes.
Yeah, and that's interesting because one of your requests was for hourly sampling.
Hourly, no. The hourly water sample. So what it is, it's a discrete sampling system. So essentially it's filling a small container a little bit at a time, so you get a homogeneous sample for a period of time rather than taking an individual discrete sample. Scientists will blind you with some of the details in terms of how they want to collect these samples. Some of these are still being addressed, and one of the questions I'm asking of you and your wastewater treatment plant is what kind of sampling devices you might have on site and what you might be able to. I'm assuming you're going to be doing some sampling in the new system. The question is what and whether it plugs into some of the monitoring we'd like to do and whether we can get access to it.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I hear as you're developing that strategy, it seems that you are in the process of developing a complicated response to a complicated problem,
Exactly.
which will take time. And as I hope as things develop, we can all see how that comes together.
And
All
just another comment, if I could, if the sampling equipment is not there and we're able to provide some financial help for it, we would be interested in doing some of that as well. So we're not trying to throw it all at you and make your life more complicated. We're looking for a willingness to collaborate and let us jump in and help get some of the information. Like, we're not trying to dump all of this on you. We're looking for an opportunity to go in and learn some things.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Anybody else? So one of the requests is to do sampling, but then you just said it's hard to sample. So can you guys sample for Noro?
We could collect a discrete dipped sample out of the pond, okay, and we can analyze effluent because of the concentration of Noro. It's easier when the concentration is so small in the marine environment. In order to get a 250 ml sample, I've got to pump about 2,000 liters of water through a filter.
Right. Yeah.
Phytoplankton and other things clog up the filter, and then it becomes a problem.
Okay. And then I assume that you're not so worried about septics, because the thing that I've learned today is that because our plume is on top of the water and it's fresh water and it's coming through the Trent along with all the other stuff that goes into the Trent, that is floating, and that makes it more dangerous.
It's a likely source. I'm not saying it's the
Right.
only source, and I'm not saying septic fields aren't potentially part of the problem. They are. Some of the sampling I've done, talking to Environment Canada, a couple of the hot neighborhoods that are suspected of being a problem, Union Bay, Royston, tired old septic fields on small lots.
Yeah.
I've been out sampling accumulation ditches. So at the bottom of the hill, as it goes under the highway, you dip samples. After a rainfall, like Friday, and again last winter when it was raining after we had these Noro closures, they aren't exceedingly high. So
Right.
there could well be a failing septic system, but again, the scale of this situation suggests that it's something bigger than septic fields, or more directly than septic fields. What it
Okay.
is, we don't know. That's what we're trying to find out.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to throw Cumberland under the bus and say you're the sole responsibility, but it's low-hanging fruit for us to learn how to
Yeah,
try
for
to
sure.
deal with some of this stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, we're quite willing to do that. It's just not the right time at this time.
Well,
I
unfortunately, it's the time it needs to be done.
I know. The time was 20 years ago for all this to happen,
Well,
and
right.
here we are now.
Yep.
So I understand your urgency, and I also understand the problem that it's creating in the industry, and that's horrible. And I get it. But we're doing the best we can to fix it. And so you're looking for inflow measurements so that you're to see whether Noro is in the community.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
And outflow, I believe, yes.
Yeah,
you take,
outflow as
take
well.
both ends, so you know it's coming into the pond.
And then whether
and
it's
then
going up. I understood
hopefully
that
it doesn't
part.
end up
Thanks.
out. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll follow up at another time. We don't make decisions on the evening of a delegation.
All right, if I could. Did I miss anything?
Sorry, you'll have to come up and speak into the mic, and you have used all of your time for your delegation, but I'm going to allow you to have 2 minutes if you'd like to say something.
With the industry mainly being in Bain Sound, we do employ an awful lot of people. They're all local people. They're all small family farms for the most part. What happened last year basically put all of those people out of work for 6 months. So they had no income, no source of, so what we're looking for is to try and get on top of the system. One of the things with Noro, it's a growing situation in North America, and it prevalates a lot in old age seniors' homes. The other place you hear about it is cruise ships, which isn't an issue for us. It is in the environment, it is generated, and as we have more, the other growth industry, I think, in Cumberland and these areas is seniors. And in each senior's home every year, there are 2 or 3 outbreaks normally. So everybody gets it. It goes through their system. It goes into, if it's in this part, it goes into your system. So it is out there.
Yeah.
What we're trying to figure out is if we can get on top of it. We're willing to withdraw our products from the market, so take losses at that, but not a 6-month duration. And there are still some farms.
Yes,
that are not
I
allowed
understand.
to.
Sorry, I'm going to, I think Alex explained very well the threat of norovirus on the oyster industry, the shellfish industry, and I think we understand that very well now at that table, and we appreciate that you've brought this to us, and we are also disappointed that that was the situation, and that the shellfish industry is also important to us and to our communities, and we do not wish to be doing any of the things that are happening to you. We do not want to be responsible
We're just
for
looking
any
for
of
an
that.
option to try and get on top
I understand. I think Alex explained that very well to us, and we have it also by email. So thanks so much for being here.
The other group here, we're allowed to extend their time, and we're not allowed to expend our time. Thank
I
you
just
very much.
extended your time. You've had 25 minutes. So thanks for being here. There's recommendation to receive that
Thank
delegation.
you for the opportunity.
I'll move that we receive the delegation.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay, next up is Comox First Nation local government support for Comox Treaty. Correspondence. I'm going to find my agenda.
Okay, Comox First Nation is just looking for council to write a letter of support to the province for their treaty, and staff recommend that you direct staff to write that letter for the mayor to
Send a
sign.
letter.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have questions, or anybody want to make that motion?
Question? No. I'll move that council write a letter of support for the Comox First Nation Treaty.
Second.
All in favor? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. And Orchard Park Stewardship Agreement.
And this is unfinished business. It's not a staff report, so
It's
this
not a
is
staff
just
report,
a
so-
recommendation.
So you're looking for direction on, there's a recommendation there.
Oh, here comes Kevin.
Oh, here comes Kevin.
Yeah, apologize. This process isn't necessarily obvious. The Rotary delegation, I believe on September 15th, had some requests. They weren't clearly articulated in the written request for the delegation. So staff is just seeking some direction from council on the best approach to responding to those requests. Is it a staff report that you would like? I suppose you could just respond in a meeting, but there is a follow-up action required, and we're just seeking some direction.
Okay, yeah, I think, at least from my perspective, I wouldn't mind seeing a kind of outline of what the plan is for that park, long term, like what their long-term vision is, and then in particular where that furniture is going.
Could we just add how that might fit into your work plan, or
Yeah.
if you have capacity to do that? Because I think with some of it, there's a little bit more of an undertaking, particularly with supplying the water as well. It's not a small undertaking.
Yeah, there were several requests. I think probably the best way to summarize that would be to put together a staff report that considers all those factors, what the requests are, the status of the park, operational capacities. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, anybody got a recommendation?
Yep. I'll move that in response to the September 15th Cumberland Rotary Centennial Delegation regarding Rotary Orchard Park improvements, Council determine whether it wishes to direct staff to report back to Council with more information on the proposed scope of works, village responsibilities, and other information to inform next steps. So, yes, we would like more information.
Second.
Okay.
All the seconders and all in favor, no opposed. Is that good?
Sorry, as I was reading it, I was realizing it's not quite. But yes, we want to direct for more. Yes.
Understood.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and next up is acting mayor appointments, which we are wont to do on an annual basis. And I think there's just one change, which is the swap of Ward and Sullivan.
Yep.
Different timings from last year.
I
So I think the time periods are now November to January is Councillor Barecki, February to April is Councillor Sullivan, May to July is Councillor Ward, and August to October is Councillor Tyrion.
That's the sailing
So if
season.
that's
I'm fine with that. You graciously swapped last year, and this year, if you are happy,
Yeah, it's
I don't
yeah.
And
I-
just a question, it's just,
Yes.
In my case, if I find I'm called away, as I was last year, and potentially.
When you're
Well,
acting
it goes
mayor?
down the
When,
line.
when you're acting mayor, it just goes down the line.
Goes
You
down
can
the line.
you can negotiate with someone else to be acting.
You would
mayor
want
with
to
your
come back to me
blessings.
probably
Okay.
and, or, yeah.
Yeah, that would be the first
Because
step.
we'd have to figure out how we go down that line.
Okay, yeah. So there's some flexibility.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's pretty casual.
But you're pretty much on all the time, so.
Yeah. I aspire to be away in the future at
She's
times.
trying.
I aspire to vacations when I get
She
there.
wants us to act once in a while.
Yeah. And sometimes there are multiple things happening at once, and then I also need a backup,
Yep.
even if I'm here, because this valley is a going concern with all the things
A lot of the mayor's time for everywhere, eh?
everywhere, all the time. Okay, is that all we had to do with that? Okay.
Yep.
Brecki, Sullivan, Ward,
Yep.
Tyrion. Yes.
that's fine.
Yeah. So we need that
I'll
motion.
move that council appoint acting mayors for the time periods as presented.
Second.
Yes, all in favor. And none opposed. That's carried unanimously. No bylaws, no new business, and no notices. Wow. Okay. We're straight into question period.
Questions?
Any questions? All the audience left. And now there's no one here.
Not impressed. They took everyone with them too.
No online questions. Okay, there's a motion to go closed, I believe. Yeah, there is.
I'll move the council close the meeting to the public pursuant to Section 90 of the Community Charter to consider personal information about an identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, or agent of the municipality or another position appointed by the municipality.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?